So BSB Tech 201, one of the things that I've done, the reason I switched you out of the main class and had the beginners class and then the second class is because I felt like a lot of people who were coming into the program needed more time and time spent on digital literacy, including Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So the 3 units you'll notice that I have chosen to teach first are BSB INS 301 that you just finished, which is information literacy, BSB Tech 201, which is using digital technologies, and then CUAIND 202, and that one tells you more about how it talks about libraries and then how libraries fit into information and cultural service organizations. Okay, so it's an introduction to libraries, technology, and information literacy. So we already did information literacy, and now we're on to technology. I just felt like as you guys are being thrown into Teams and all these new aspects of your digital ecosystem, that it would be beneficial to have this class second. To help you gain more skills to help you as you continue through the rest of the units. So as I told you before, the information, everything that's in here is going to be from the workbook, so you have another place to find it. BSB Tech has 3 different topics. It talks about selecting and preparing to use technology, the input process, and input and process information and data, and then finalize and store your documents. So topic 1 is selecting and preparing to use technology. And in this topic, we're going to talk about how to identify your assigned task requirements and clarify with relevant personnel as required, how to select relevant software and technology to achieve your assigned tasks, and how to adjust the workspace to suit your ergonomic requirements. So if you look at this slide, just first glance, to identify and clarify our tasks, it clarifies you need to know what the purpose is, who your audience is, and how the finished item should be presented. Okay, so if you are writing a blog post, let's say, for instance, you would know potentially that you would need a word processing program and that you wouldn't need to spend too much time formatting it because you're actually going to move it into the internet and it'll get formatted there. Or let's say that you were trying to present a budget to a group. You might say, oh, I need this to number 1, because I'm presenting it to a group, it needs to be a PowerPoint slide. But number 2, if I'm doing a budget, numbers almost always are going to go into Excel. Okay, so figuring out who your audience is, what the purpose is, and what finished format you need is part of that process. And you'll see on the very bottom 2 lines, it says when you talk about format, you want to pay attention to headings, font styles and sizes, headers and footers, color and images that affect the style and appearance of a document. So this is select your technology desktop computer. I think a lot has changed since this picture was probably taken, but some people still have items like this. And I will admit to you, my most recent computer purchase was actually buying a new desktop computer, not even a laptop computer, because I wanted to have the highest level of power linked to the highest level of internet in my house. And I didn't want it to be small. I wanted it to be bigger with both of my screens so that I could use them and have more computing space, not less, in a laptop. But the hard drive, which is stored in here, is the brains of the computer. PC means personal computer. The hard drive, which is the brains, is all stored in this what's called a tower. Nowadays, not only do they have all-in-ones where you can have the computing brains inside the monitor, but as you know, a lot of people use tablets, all-in-ones, and laptops. So they take a lot of different forms. The monitor is the display. So whether your display is on a tablet, is part of your laptop, or is a display on a desk, this is your monitor. Can you see my mouse okay? Is it big enough? Yeah? Okay. Your keyboard, which is here, is where you input data. You type with it. Then you have your mouse. Is there even a mouse in the picture? Oh, well, this one happens to have a mouse trackpad, which is right here, which you'll find most of the time on laptops, okay, which is a pointing input device. So, of course, I was talking about laptop technology being portable, has a hard drive screen and keyboard all in the same piece of equipment. They're portable, lightweight, and easy to plug in with power. Some of them do have trackpads. That's what I was talking about before. That's what's on here is a trackpad, and some actually use a mouse. And then we have our tablet technology, which is just changing all the time. Sometimes they're, larger than a smartphone, smaller than a laptop, but a lot of people are doing work these days on tablets. Not only that, but you can even buy a keyboard for your tablet to make it easier to do tasks on a tablet. Okay, printers, photocopiers, and scanners. Offices frequently have these kinds of equipment. One thing for all of you to know about printers that's a really cool process is if you want to print anything and you live near a TAFE campus or go to a TAFE campus, no matter how far it is, if you go into the library, you can actually print for free. So if you want to print out your workbooks or print out your assessments because you like things paper more, you can actually go there. And then they have this really cool, what is it called? Find Me Printing, I think is what it's called. And what you do is when you're in the library, you click print and it says Find Me. And then you go over to the copier. It's a printer and a photocopier at the same machine. And you put in your username, your TAFE username and password, and you just click print from any of the photocopiers and it'll print out your information. So that's a really cool option that all of you should know about, that if you can ever frequent a TAFE campus, if you need printing for class, you can go and get it done there for free. So a printer prints out information from a computer. A photocopier will make copies of items that you have in your hand, and a scanner is actually going to scan the image into the computer so that it can be sent or used in the computer. So these are our 4 main software applications. What we were just talking about, by the way, that's all hardware, okay? What we're talking about now is software. So the hardware is all of the items that we use to do the job, like we pick up, we can touch it, the mouse, the copier, the scanner, the laptop, the computer. Now we're talking about the software, or what you might also be called applications. Apps is the more modern name, is they're apps, they're applications. Apps stands for applications. The 4 main ones, so we looked at last week, we looked at the Office suite and what was available to you in the Microsoft Office suite, Office 365. And all 4 of these are available to you through your portal, through TAFE. The first one is word processing. Word processing software allows you to create, store, and print written documents. Users can type, edit, and insert graphics to create documents that can easily print and save. The most commonly used word processing software is Microsoft Word. So you can also use Google, and Google has all of these available through Chrome. Those are probably the 2 biggest ones that I see people using. Then we have spreadsheet software. And as it says here, that's Microsoft Excel. The spreadsheet software allows the users to record and process numeric information and lists. Most commonly used spreadsheet software is Microsoft Excel. Then we have presentation software, which is used to create slideshows or multimedia presentations to provide a clear visual display of the points covered in a talk. The most commonly one used is Microsoft PowerPoint. So I've created a PowerPoint slideshow. That's what we're looking at right now. You'll notice that in this particular PowerPoint, all of the things are this purple format and design. That's something that once you can actually use the program to create these, the pink, blue, green, and orange that are on here, that was actually suggested to me by the software when I went into design, and I'll show you guys how that works. But it kind of, it has different formatting, that's made easily available to you. You just put your text in, tell it what kind of page you want, and it gives you ideas on how to design the whole thing. So now let's talk about our workstation. Now remember, I've told you in the past, and I'll say it again, that when we do the snapshot, we talk about a lot of different topics in a very short period of time. So it's kind of what I call an information dump. It's more than you're going to be able to retain right now. But remember, you're going to hear it once right now. You're going to do it once on the computer, and then you're going to see it again next week in the same place. So you don't need to know everything right now. It's just your first exposure to all of these topics. So we want to talk about adjustments of your workstation. So one of the things that I recently did when I bought this new laptop was I realized that I had my laptop, my computer keyboard on my desk. And then what I would do is I would push my keyboard far away from me, and I would put my book where I write right in front of me. And then as I was reading through this unit, I realized that ergonomically that's not correct. So what I did was I purchased a drawer to go under my desk so that I'm actually able to sit up straight, keep my arms at a 90-degree level, and have my book accessible to me. So the different things that we talk about when we talk about ergonomics are we talk about the glare on the monitor. We talk about the height and comfort of your chair. We talk about the volume. For those of you who are using headsets, we want to make sure that and the computer, we want to make sure the volume isn't too loud or too soft, and that you're not straining with your eyes or your ears. Okay, so everyone everyone in Australia has workplace health and safety. We'll get to that. But specifically, when you're talking about ergonomic issues, you want to make sure that your monitor is at the right height, that your chair is at the right height, that your keyboard is in the right position, and that you're not looking up at your monitor or looking down at your monitor and things that will hurt your body. Okay. So these are general safety issues in, hold on a second. Okay. General safety issues that happen in the workplace. And you can go through these in the book. I'm not going to spend too much time on them, but there are workplace health and safety issues oh yeah. So employers have to provide safe working environments, and they have to consult their workers about the health and safety workplace. Okay, everyone is responsible for health and safety, and just be aware of the fact. The reason I'm so confused right now is because the next class is actually doing workplace health and safety. So I'm asking myself if I put the right slides in. That's why I'm kind of confused, because the whole next class is workplace health and safety. So just so you know, here's a list of safety issues, and they need to be involved in even when we're talking about computers. Working at a computer, you want to make sure that I'm hoping I told you the first day of class that I want you to make sure to do a 20-20-20. Did I tell you guys 20-20-20 for those of you who were there the first day? Every 20 minutes, I want you to look 20 feet away, which is about 6 meters, for about 20 seconds. Okay, give your eyes a break and take care of yourself. That's one of the reasons why I always try to have breaks at least every hour during online classes, because sitting at the computer and staring at the monitor for too long isn't very healthy. We want to make sure that you're not being harmed while conducting your work, and that you're meeting organizational requirements, and that you meet legislative requirements. Ergonomics are the study of the interaction between humans and the work environment. And it focuses on creating a comfortable and safe working condition by adapting workstations, tools, and equipment to an individual's needs. I actually, as a part of my job, have to send a picture of my home computer, my desk chair, and my desk, and fill out a form that I'm in compliance with ergonomics and workplace health and safety with regard to my work environment. So when you set up your workspace, you want to pay attention to the chair. It's really important that you adjust the seat and the backrest so that your head and neck are in line with your torso. The top of your monitor is at eye level. Your feet are flat on the floor, and your armrests do not hinder you from carrying out your task. One of the things that I think about is when an armrest would hinder your task is if somebody were playing the guitar or teaching the guitar. They wouldn't be able to do their job with their armrest in their hand, or if they had to be holding on to something that was longer than their space, their armrest might get in the way. Next, you need to set up your desk. You need to organize your workspace so you don't have to reach too far for commonly used items such as telephone and the mouse. Now, one of the things I actually do recommend, and that some offices have started implementing, is put your printer far away from your desk, because it increases your steps, it makes you get up and walk, and it adds a little bit of exercise to your day. So as long as you're not printing all day long, it's kind of a good idea to put your printer far away, but everything else, make sure it's nice and close. Equipment on the desk should be easy to reach. Make sure your keyboard is close. That's what I did, was I was putting my keyboard far away from me. No documents, and this was it. No documents should be placed between the keyboard and the user, and that's why I had to change my desk space. Now your keyboard, when typing, your hands should float freely on top of the keyboard, much like a piano. The angle of the keyboard is adjusted to suit your needs. It remains close to the front of the desk. Your wrists do not rest when typing. Wrist supports are used only when pausing and you tap the keys lightly. And then your monitor. When setting up your monitor, make sure that it's the correct distance and height for you. Set up, adjust, and clean the display. Set up the display and screen resolution of your computer to facilitate comfortable viewing. Use an anti-glare filter to help relieve eye strain or stress caused by reflection or glare. It's interesting. So I went from an all-in-one computer to my new desktop, and I used old monitors. But one of the things the new monitors had was they had anti-glare. I didn't even realize that my all-in-one that I had been using, which I thought looked really, really nice and shiny, was actually not healthy for me, because I was looking at the glare from the window behind me all the time. And so I didn't realize that it wasn't in my best interest. And now I have two anti-glare monitors that are much, much healthier and better for the work environment. By the way, if I haven't done so already, I will upload this PowerPoint so that you will have access to it, just so everybody knows. So then you can also look at document holders, footrests, lighting, heating, ventilation. I don't know if you guys see me reach over here some of the times. I have a fan right next to my desk. So if you see me reaching over, I'm turning my fan on and off to make sure that I have a healthy work environment. Avoid sitting for long periods. It's important to stand up, move, and stretch frequently during work periods. So that's topic number one. Any questions about topic number one before we move on? All right. In topic number two, we're going to talk specifically about the business software applications. Enter, check, amend, and format information in an application, print a document, use relevant help functions to overcome simple issues. So we just talked about these four applications. So Microsoft Office is the most common suite of business software used in organizations across the world. If used at a workplace, the organization will install the software on the employees' computers. You happen to, and I happen to, have access through the internet, through our portals. And as I mentioned to you, I showed you last week how to download the software to your computer. Didn't I show you that last week? Maybe not. I have no responses from anybody.
You did, yeah, you did. Sorry.
Okay, so last week if you don't remember how, next week when we stop and pause for questions, I will show you examples of all of this stuff. Okay. So what is each of these programs used for? Word is for writing, Excel is for numbers, PowerPoint is for presentations, and Outlook is for emails. Okay, so if you're wondering where your TAFE email is, if you go into Office 365 and look for Outlook, you'll find your TAFE emails. Okay, Some examples of using Word include a formal letter, drafting a report, or completing a form. Sending an email is what we do in Outlook. You can complete a budget or a timesheet in Excel and develop team meeting slides in PowerPoint. Those are some examples. So how do you open a software application? Use your mouse button, double click on the icon, open the application. It should launch with a blank new document, spreadsheet, or presentation. You can also open a file directly from Windows Explorer. Your computer will recognize the type of file. So what that's saying is if you have a document already, if you double click on the document and open it up, your computer will automatically determine what it is that you're needing to use. If you need to start by opening an existing template, locate where the template is stored, double click in the template file, and it will automatically open. These, I don't know if you've noticed, but the PowerPoints that I'm using, you've only seen 2 of them, but they all have the same formatting. And the reason is because I use TAFE specific formats. So when we talk about files, and I'm sure you've seen saved files on your computer before, they have what's called an extension at the end. The .doc, .docx, .xlsx, .csv, .pptx. The ones that I see regularly, for Microsoft Word, I almost see .docx. Old Microsoft Word had .doc, okay? Excel used to be .xls, but now it's XLSX. CSV often comes if you're downloading information from, say, your bank or from some kind of a database or something like that, where you're downloading a lot of information and it's going to input it into Excel, but it's not already in Excel. It's in some other format, okay, numbers. And then I haven't actually seen any of the other PowerPoint ones. Like I've never used them or seen them. But just so you know, the letters after the dot indicate what kind of document it is. So how do we enter information into a document? Typing, words and numbers are entered via the keyboard into the document. These 3 items are some of the things that I use absolutely all the time. Control C, Control V, and Control X. Now, it actually doesn't even have on my slide here, Control X. So let me make sure that that gets in there, because cut, it is CTRLX plus X. From the current slide. Okay, Control C, Control V, and Control X. I literally use them all the time, and they are some of the best shortcuts you will ever learn with regard to entering data. Control C is to copy information. You highlight the information. You highlight the information, click Control C, and then you go to where you want it to go, and you put Control V to paste it. Now, the other thing that you need to know is how Control X works. Control X is actually really cool because it's not just cut. It's cut and copy, okay? So cut and copy means that not only does it cut it from your document, but it's ready to be pasted somewhere else, okay? And I'll show you examples of these next week. So when you are creating and editing a word processing document, you're going to use Microsoft Word. It's used for writing all of these different things, writing reports, letters, brochures, books, articles, etc. You open the Microsoft Word application, you select blank document or new, or you can create a new one using a template. Okay, and like I said, I will show you all of this. I'm not sure if I'll show it to you later today or I'll show it to you next week. Once it opens up, this is what your screen is going to look like. And so there are some common names of items in a Word document that are helpful to know. So the ribbon is this part along the top that has tabs on it. The ruler is right here. Now, the thing about the ruler is sometimes it's not showing. And sometimes what you need to do is go into view right here. Sorry. Right here, you need to go into view in order to get your ruler to show. Okay, this is your document area. And what's cut off of this, and I apologize for that, is there's additional document information on the bottom. It'll tell you how many words, and it's not in the picture, I'm sorry, but there will be document information on the bottom right here. When I show you a document next week, we'll go through that. And it'll tell you how many words and how many characters you have. It tells you a couple of other things. So there are a lot of different ways that you can format in Word. You can do page setup, paragraph formatting, character formatting, format painter, table. You can add tables and you can add graphics. You should be wary of adding tables in Word. Use it when it's necessary, but don't use it if it's going to get too complicated. You might want to make your table in Excel and then copy and paste it in if you have any kind of complicated numbers. So if you're just trying to show basic information in tables or separate things, that's fine, but just use your tables wisely in Word. You can also add graphics. So Microsoft Excel. Excel spreadsheets are used to sort, organize, calculate, and display data, particularly numerical data. Spreadsheets are typically used for business requirements such as budgets, inventories, and timesheets. They organize data into columns and rows and perform calculations. So you can add all of the numbers in a column. I can have an Excel spreadsheet. I happen to have an Excel spreadsheet with all your names on it and all the dates of class. I put who's been in attendance and I count how many students I have each week. And the computer does the counting part automatically when I put a formula in. This is what the Excel document looks like. Number one, you'll see that the menu with the ribbon is on the top again. The columns are listed here by these letters, A, B, C, D, E. Do you see how these are all uppercase letters? Those are our columns. And on the left-hand side going down, the rows are all numbered. Each one of these little squares here is called a cell. So you'll see right here that it has cells. The entire document here is called a sheet. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that's really cool about Excel, but can also be confusing, is that you can actually make multiple sheets in one file. And that's why down here it has the worksheet name. It says this is sheet 1. You can add a sheet 2, 3, 4, 5 in Excel. So the active cell will have an outline like this one does. See how it's a darker outline? The name of the box is listed, whichever box you're working in, whichever cell you're working in, it'll tell you you're working in A1, so you know what cell you're working in. This information, the formula bar, is actually what you're typing into the cell. Okay, like I said, I'm going to show it all to you, so just use this as your introduction to Excel and all these programs. So what do we put into the cells? Numerical data, numbers, dates, times, text. You can use simple formulas. You can copy or move cells, and you can sort data. Formatting in Excel, you can do page setup, text formatting, merge your cells and wrap text, insert or delete rows and columns. Okay, we're on to PowerPoint. I know this is a lot, but we're on to our 4th program already, Microsoft PowerPoint. PowerPoint is a presentation package that can incorporate a range of multimedia, including text, images, photos, sound, video, and animation. A well-designed presentation can help make a complex task simple. It can inspire, motivate, educate, and entertain. So once you open the PowerPoint presentation, just like the other ones, it comes up with a blank page. And these are the items that are on the PowerPoint page. Number one, you have your slide, which is right here, which it doesn't even say it's a slide, but this is your slide. This is your slide sorter right here, which means when you're creating, it'll have a list of all of your slides right here. Next, it'll have placeholders. And now the reason it has this little window right here is, does everyone see where it says insert slide, new slide? What does it say? Trying to look on here. It might be on a different menu, but when you insert a new slide, when you click, see right here where it says new slide, it must not be home right now. See right here where it says new slide? On the new slide, you can click any of these different layouts, and I will show you that. There are different ways you can view your presentation while you're creating it. And then remember, I was telling you, you can use transitions, animations, and also design features. And that can all be found in the ribbon, the menu ribbon on the top. So when what I was just sharing with you is that you can decide what you want the format of the slide to be. You don't have to make it up yourself. They're available to you. You can make it up yourself, but it's better to try to use one of these. It makes it much easier for you. You basically click on the slide, click on the placeholder, and add your information, and the software does the rest. Okay. From the Insert tab, you select New Slide. There's also a place on the Home tab to select a new slide, and I'll show you that. Okay, here are just some general tips. You never use more than 6 lines of type per slide. I think that's because I have a lot to show. I have a lot to talk about. Use no more than 7 words per line. Rarely do I do that. Avoid using a number of text slides in a row. So they're saying use video, use pictures, use different formats, that it's not just text all the time. Ensure the information on each slide is large enough to be viewed. Sometimes mine is not large enough to be viewed. If I find that my text is getting so small, I'll actually separate it into 2 slides to make the font bigger. Don't use script or fancy fonts as they're difficult to view. You'll notice that most of the slides in this presentation have white as the background. In design, white happens to be very favorable. There are accent colors that draw attention to things, but most of the time, people don't use fancy fonts. They don't use fancy colors on their fonts. Okay, in order for people to have the highest possibility of understanding it from far away, you want to use plain fonts and information. Don't use highly detailed or complex images. I happen to think that these images are kind of on the border. I think this one and the other 3, they're a little bit borderline on how complex they are. Use 1 slide per concept, idea, or point. Be consistent with the basic design and use colors, logos, backgrounds, and fonts consistently. So don't have like 1 bright red slide and 1, dull green slide and 1 yellow slide and 1, unless that happens to be the color scheme that you're putting throughout everything. So what are the other things we can do within the software? You can use organizational templates. You can save your documents. You can check and amend information. So you can do spell check. You can find and replace text. You can track changes, and you can print. One of the things that I recommend people do for their quizzes, for your quizzes that come after your work, if you can bring up the textbook that I have put into your files, you can actually bring up your document, do a Control F for find, and try to find the content in the workbook separate from what's being shown on your screen. So find and replace text is a really great one. When you're doing online learning, I think that Control F is amazing because it gets you to concepts right away. Okay, things to consider when checking information or data. Consider printing a copy because it may be easier to detect errors on paper. When I proofread items, especially if most of the time in Australia, when you guys turn documents in, you turn them in single spaced. When I proofread my papers, I will print it out double spaced. And the reason I do that is because it gives me plenty of space to write my comments or make changes or write changes to the sentence, okay? Review the information or data slowly and methodically, have someone else review it, use spell check and grammar. There's actually a really cool function that I just became aware of in Microsoft Word. It gives your document a percentage. It'll say your percentage with grammar and spelling is a 72. And then if you look through your document and you start looking at all the underlined blue things and underlined red things and you start changing them and making them better, all of a sudden you get closer and closer to 100. And when you have done everything that the computer recommends, or if you don't, you say ignore, you can get up to 100% with your spelling, your grammar, which is great. Double check the numbers, look out for homonyms, there, 2. Look out for contractions and apostrophes. You're not typically supposed to use contractions in your writing, but I think we do it all the time. Not in writing an email, but if you're writing a report or presentation, you don't really want to use contractions very much. Try not to proofread all types of errors at once, rather focus on different aspects during each round of review and make a note of your most common errors so you can pick them up faster next time. Now, there's also a help function in all of these programs. You can always click on help and then search for the thing that you need. Like, Linda, I'll answer your question 1 second. When you look in help, you can search for what you need, and sometimes it'll say, okay, do this, this, and this. One of the things that I always want to know how to do in Excel is to freeze a row. So if I scroll up and down, I want the top row to stay the same, and I always forget where it is. So I always have to go to help to find out how to freeze a row. Now, not only does it tell me how to freeze the row, now it says, do you want me to freeze row 1? Which is great. Linda, go ahead.
This sounds silly, but what's a contraction?
A contraction is when you shorten the word. Do you see right here, can't, you'll, and there?
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, that you typically don't want to use. You want to spell everything out in your presentations, not combine your words like this.
Oh, so like you are and
they are. Exactly, yes.
Okay, I've never heard that term before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've never ever heard that. Okay, no worries.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Okay, taking screenshots. There are a couple of different ways that you can take screenshots. One is that if you look on your monitor in front of you right now, not on your monitor, I'm sorry. If you look on your keyboard in front of you right now, on the top row next to all of your F functions, most of you, raise your hand if you have one, will have one that says print screen. Can you raise your hand digitally if you have print screen? Okay, most of you, it does look like you have print screen. What print screen does, you can put your hands down, thank you very much. What print screen does is that now, see, I have a problem with print screen now because I have 2 monitors. And so if I do print screen, it copies the whole thing. But print screen will copy the entire screen that you have right now, it'll automatically save it for you to do a control. What is it? What do you have to click to paste? What do you click? Control what?
Control V.
Control V is paste. Okay. The other thing is, what do you think Control P is used for? What's Control P for?
Print.
That's why it's not Control P. Okay. So Control P is for print. Control V is for paste. The other thing is, and I think have I shown you guys the snipping tool? Yes, I did. Yeah. So the snipping tool is the modern way of taking screenshots where you copy and you paste it and put it into a document, which is far superior to print screen. Usually you'll have organizational support, and a lot of places have help desks to assist. You guys do have access to technology support through TAFE, and the information about technology support is available in the TAFE, the West List Wiki. Everybody knows what that is, right? The West List Wiki. Does anybody not know what it is? It's the document that I shared with you the first week of school that should be close to your Bible. If you have any questions, go to the TAFE, the Westless Wiki. All right, topic 3, we're moving on to the third topic. Finalize and store documents, how to review and edit final information, how to prepare your document for storage, how to name and store documents and exit applications. Now, you've heard me say that I want you to download your file and rename it with your name in it. One thing you need to know about this particular assessment is that you have a very particular naming convention, and I'll show you what it is. But you're going to need to name all of your files according to this naming convention that it talks about here, okay? I'll talk more about naming conventions and what I'm talking about in a minute. Review and edit for storage. You need to review, edit, and prepare the information for storage in accordance with whatever organizational and task requirement there is. One of the things that I've heard when people are applying for jobs, what people are looking for in employees is what they call digital dexterity. You don't necessarily need to know every single program out there, but you need to know the basic concepts of opening a file, inputting data into the file, saving it, checking it, and storing it, right? So there are several steps that should be taken to finalize a document. You want to review the information, you want to proofread it and edit the information, and then you want to prepare it for storage. When you while you're reviewing the document, you want to proofread and edit it. You want to look at the content, the spelling, the grammar, the style, and the numerical data. One thing that I find is particularly useful in reviewing a document is reading it out loud. I know that sounds silly, but if you read it out loud, you're going to find some of the mistakes that are there. So we talked about this before, that you do not need to add this end part of the file name. That's going to go in automatically. Okay, but just so you know, when you're looking for your files, this is what is going to be on the end of them. Now there's a fourth file type here, and it's called a PDF, a portable document format. It's a popular file that's primarily used for viewing, not editing. That means that people take documents, they create a flat document that's not editable. Often documents for signature will be in a PDF format. Your workbook might be in Word or it might be in a PDF format. PDF is smaller and easier to send. The Word documents are editable. So when you save files for this course, always add your name at the beginning of the name of the file name. That's what I was telling you. Remember this, if from BSB to the X is the name of the assessment, what I want you to do is put your first and last name. I don't care if it's one word, I don't care if it's 2 words, I don't care if you use uppercase, lowercase, use underscores or spaces. I just please, you need to put your name into the beginning of the file name. Okay. Sometimes you have to put password protection on it.
Sorry, Melissa.
Yeah.
I've put mine in after the BSB 202. Is that all right?
Whatever you've done in the past is fine.
But I'll do it like that in the future.
Yeah, what I'd like you to do in the future is put your name in the front. That's just for me. Your other teachers might want something else. So then you can go ahead. What?
I think there's feedback through somebody else's microphone.
Okay. So then you save files, and after you save your file, you exit it. Now, there are some issues with saving files that I want you to be aware of, and I'll show them to you next week. When you're working in Microsoft Word, first of all, if you're working in Teams or you're working on the web, your work is going to automatically be saved. If you're working in the program on your computer, you can set it up to automatically save either in your OneDrive or on your hard drive. Okay, so we're going to look at saving next week, and then we'll look at exiting or closing an application, where typically what you do is you put the X in the upper right-hand corner, or you just click close. And I'm sorry, a little bit of this is different if you're working on a Mac or an Apple instead of a PC. And that's it.